Hello, back again for Cost Accounting Chapter 7. Alex here. Um, this is the master budget and flexible budget. I'm going to go over this because I guess in class it's touched upon just very lightly, just a flexible budget. Um, Basically, budgets aren't just for making sure that your household expenditures don't exceed your income, which a lot of times budgets are for that, but budgets are also used in businesses, so not just personal stuff. Um, and there's two different kinds of budgets. The master budget, prepared prior to the beginning of the period, that is based on the company's planned accomplishments. So before you even start the year, you have a budget saying, okay, this is what should happen. And then you have a flexible budget prepared after the fact to compare the actual operating results to what should have occurred. And that's the flexible budget, is where you compare. And so, and of course, a budget is a planning device that helps a company set goals and that serves as a gauge against which actual results can be measured. And so, that's chapter 7 in a nutshell. It's how you evaluate your progress. And so, a flexible budget, and I think I'm going to do one of the problems on the board tomorrow. Just a flexible budget, just for one of them. But basically, a flexible budget is how you compare what actually happened, and then what you basically can do is estimate different percents of capacity. So if you had if the number of units you made was 1,000, that's 100% of what you made. Now, if you wanted to see what the costs would be at 90%, at 900 units, then your fixed costs won't change, but your variable costs would, so your variable costs would only be 90% of the 100% of what they were at. So like instead of $2,000 and 100% for maintenance costs, they'd only be $1,800 for 900 units. But your fixed wouldn't change. And then you can also see if you did 110%, which 110 units, your variable for maintenance would go up by 200. And so it's just to see what your variable costs how they would change, and how your factory overhead would change per direct labor hour, and your total factory overhead, how it changes, because your fixed might not change, but your variable changes, which means your total would change, which means your total overhead per labor hour would change. And so, yeah, I just wanted to go over this. Not a whole lot. It's important to have a budget, though. And a flexible budget just lets you know what would have happened if you would have done these. So then, with the flexible budget, you could use for next year's forecast and determine what needs to be done differently. You can also, though, have a performance report, which is neat because it shows you the flexible budget, what actually happened, the flexible budget per unit, what actually happened in the master budget, and the variance, because your master is going to differ from your actual, more likely than not. And so it's good to see the variances if they're favorable, if they're unfavorable, and then you can make improvements based on what you find. It's actually pretty important. It's actually pretty important, because if you're doing unfavorable and spending more money than you need to, then you're going to need to address that. And so that's basically chapter 7. And I just found out that the class also does chapter 10, because it has a lot of ratios and analysis. Basically the break-even point, contribution margin. So I'll probably end up doing that next week. I guess I could do a few examples on that one too. So cost was a big undertaking. There was a lot of chapters in cost. big undertaking. Um, it can be hard, but it's definitely one of the most useful ones. And um, going through this is an eye-opening experience. So I'm thankful for everybody uh, tuning in to get more knowledge. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, and please like and subscribe because I want to do I want to do more. There's a lot more to go over, and so yeah. So I'll see. Yeah, the flexible budget wasn't. It's not that bad, so don't worry about it. It's just probably setting it up. It's the hardest part. So if you have a template, that'll help. Um, and it doesn't look like 9 is touched upon, so I'm not going to bother with 9. But yeah. So thank you, and I hope this helps. And be back here for tomorrow. I'll probably put the assignment up. And please have a good day. Yeah, okay. So, excuse me. I'll see you tomorrow. Tune in. I will just do the example, at least the first part, to show how to do problem 7-9. So thank you, and I'll see you again.